Good afternoon from Milan, Italy, and welcome to the CMCC webinar series. Before starting, I would like to remind you a couple of information. This webinar will be recorded and uploaded on the CMCC YouTube channel and website. If you have further questions about the webinars, please email webinar@cmcc.it. Few housekeeping rules. Your audio and video are deactivated by default, but if you need to intervene or ask questions, we will devote 20-25 minutes at the end for hearing from our audience today. You can either write in the Q&A section or use the raise hand feature, and I will give you the floor. Just a small recommendation, and at the end of our webinar, if you agree, you can let us know your thoughts by scanning this QR code and filling in a very quick evaluation survey on this webinar. So welcome again. Today the webinar is on the strategic recommendation for a sustainable use of resources in the Mediterranean built environment. The webinar is organized by CMCC, as part of a CMCC series of webinars. CMCC is a non-profit research organization established in 2005. In 2015, CMCC became a foundation. We are a scientific research center on climate change and its interactions with the environment, the society, the world of business, and policy makers. Our work aims to stimulate sustainable growth, protect the environment, and develop strategies for the adaptation and mitigation of climate change. This is how we are organized. We are organized in the form of a network distributed throughout the countries. We have different offices throughout Italy, in Milano, Venezia, Bologna, Viterbo, Caserta, and Lecce. We benefit from the background of our institutional partners here listed in this slide. We are organized in 11 research divisions. We share different knowledge and skills in a multidisciplinary manner in the field of climate change science. Our topics goes around economics, policy, society, Earth simulations, computing, and modeling the impacts of the climate change over different ecosystems. This is a very, very short introduction. This webinar is part of the wide range of activities in outreach activities. So we perform we develop several publications, we organize events and international activities such as this webinar. So welcome today on the webinar on the strategic recommendation for the sustainable use of resources in the Mediterranean. Today's seminar is the joint effort of 3 projects: the efficient buildings, the green growth projects, and the renewable energy projects. All these 3 projects are funded in the framework of the Interreg MED program, and they represent 3 communities, gathering all together 30 modular projects. Buildings, we are dealing today with 2 important dimensions of our future transition to a carbon neutral and sustainable future: the built environment and its sustainable use of resources in the context of the Mediterranean region. Buildings in Europe are on average very old, quite old. We can say that only the 50% of them have been built during this century. So we are speaking about the last 20 years. And as we all know, especially during the recent and the current pandemic, COVID-19 emergency, we spend the majority of our time indoors. So the quality of our built environment is absolutely important and influences our life, our well-being, and our health. And also we have to recognize that a huge amount of resources consumption is related to the construction, to the renovation, and also to the use of our buildings. On the other hand, we are in the Mediterranean area. The Mediterranean is a crossroads, and as all the crossroads, it represents, it holds together many contradictions. Mediterranean regions represent wealthy regions, but also with high territorial inequalities. And it means that we have inside the Mediterranean area, we have several vulnerable areas to climate change, and even if accounting for a low greenhouse gas emissions. But now the Mediterranean is a little bit at the crossroads. The communities and the institutions of Mediterranean member states are called to act together and to respond to the challenge for a sustainable future. So, but it's not simply an environmental challenge. We can see this as an opportunity to grow, and an opportunity to solve our contradictions, and to build a more sustainable future. So I'm very pleased because our three communities decided in some way to answer this call. And this is the case of this joint effort that's been inspired by the recent acceleration and growing momentum of the European Sustainable Development Policy. And this is with particular reference to the NextGenerationEU Recovery Plan, and with a specific reference to the European Green Deal. So I'm very pleased to welcome today our three speakers. Andrea Bigano from CMCC, Martina Vallerotonda from the Consorzio Universitario di Economia Industriale e Manageriale, and Alexia Boulanger, the Environment Park. So I would like to start with Dr. Andrea Bigano. Andrea Bigano is an energy and environmental economist, a senior scientist at the Euro-Mediterranean Center on Climate Change, and at the RFF CMCC, the European Institute on Economics and Environment. Andrea will give us an overview on the policy context and the perspective of the efficient buildings community. So thank you, Andrea, the floor is yours. Andrea, you can share your screen.
Okay, can you see my screen? Yeah. So hello everybody, thank you for this opportunity to speak about this joint work. It's been an exciting experience to work with other people in this vast community, which is the Interreg MED research program. As Giulia was saying, this work is basically being prompted about what is going on at the policy level in the EU. And so here is some brief and surely incomplete overview of what is going on. In the energy area, there has been an increasing momentum towards improving sustainability and decarbonization, at least since in the EU, at least since the energy union framework, which is in a sense still what is behind the main regulation. But recently, particularly with the clean energy for all Europeans strategy, and then with the EU Green Deal and the Next Generation EU, this is as further intensified. So basically, these main strategies which are being released now are covering many aspects of our life, and the building sector happens to be again, as Bob mentioned, it's a crossroad itself also of regulations, because it is touched directly by strategies, the renovation wave, but also other strategies and actions are important for it. And so it is important to take into consideration the whole spectrum. The latest thing happening has been the Fit for 55 strategy, which is actually a more concrete step to bring the EU in line with the 55% reduction in carbon emission by 2030 target, and with net zero by 2050. And to do that, many actions have been put in place, targeting energy, climate, land use, transport, and taxation, and there will be something specific on buildings coming up at the end of this year. But among all those policies, there are specific things going on. See if this is going up. Yeah, for our communities and for the things that we have been studying. So we can roughly identify the renovation wave as the main strategy affecting the buildings, as I said, and the clean energy for Europeans in general as the main framework for the renewables, and the circular economy action plan, the main things going on for green growth, in the sense of basically of regulating the circular economy perspective. I don't want to go too much into detail of this, because this is not the point of the paper, but the paper talks about the situation of this and the perspective of those strategies, and try to figure out which are the parts of those strategies which are relevant from our perspective, which is the role of the buildings in the decarbonization efforts of the EU. So here there is in this slide a lot of these kind of things. It's interesting that some of those initiatives are relevant explicitly for different areas, like there will be an update of the regulation about construction products, which is obviously relevant for the buildings and is part of the renovation waste, but this is also relevant from the material point of view, from the construction material point of view, and it is relevant for the circular economy action plan, and then for the green growth perspective. And buildings actually have a problem in terms of generating waste and creating an issue for circular economy. They are responsible for the 35% of total waste in the EU, and this is something which is important to intervene. These kind of considerations also are important for our general perspective of the paper, which is the one of looking at the synergies between the different areas. This is an example, but there are many others. So I would go on. I mean, you can explore the policy background more in detail in the paper, and talk a little bit about the community in which CMCC is involved, which is the efficient building community, which is basically taking care of the activities of 10 different projects, which are in turn dealing with specific topics related to energy efficiency in buildings. So what we do is to try to promote what they do, promote the results, promote the tool they produce, engage in a transnational network, which can in turn be enlarged to public buildings owner and managers. So I mean, try to involve all the possible stakeholders and improve their skills and understanding of the situation of the options which we can make available to them, and also advocate at the higher level of the EU policy and national policies about the needs of the buildings in the MED area. Also, all those projects in the years we've been busy with these activities since 2014, two lapses of the two different programs, let's say, within the Interreg program. They have been produced a lot of results, a lot of tools, a lot of methodologies and e-learning platforms, which are all available for use on the website and can be put at the disposal of local authorities for improving their energy efficiency of their buildings. Here there is some examples of the tools. Of course, I don't want to go to them in detail, but there are actually things that show that we can actually have a dent on the concrete performance of local authorities in improving their energy efficiencies of their building stock. So those are things which actually look at the reality of the procedure to achieve an investment in energy efficiency and improve the chances of bringing home the intended results, both from the technical and financial point of view. The financial aspect is very important because it's not always easy to get the funds necessary to do that, and those tools help in this direction. Building on those on this experience, we came up with some general policy recommendations, general lesson learned. And the first thing we understand is practically obvious, but Mediterranean is a special place in many ways. But from the energy point of view, there are things which are happening here which don't happen in the rest of Europe, and this matters for the buildings. So we are more prone to dry, hot climate, but we're also facing sometimes the risk of from floodings and so on. But the fact that we are prone to a hot climate means that the cooling needs are more important than the heating needs, which are more important than the rest of Europe. So this means a lot for how you make energy efficient buildings in this part of the Europe, and what you can do to improve that. And also we also understand that there are plurality of function and ingredients in the building which can make them a catalyst of change. So you can put renewables on the top of the buildings. You can use the sun to generate electricity in a building, and you can use materials which do not impact a lot on the resource stock, improve circularity. So this consideration prompted some policy recommendations, on which then we built together the other community the final policy recommendation, the joint ones, which we're going to discuss later. This policy recommendation for the VC community, how to do mainly on bringing this idea of the specificity of the Mediterranean situation to the attention of the higher level of policy making in the way that which funding is provided, in the way the regulatory frameworks and technical possibilities are understood at the local level. So the necessity to improve the skills and understanding of the rules.
Less than 1 minute, Andrea, sorry.
I'm done. So these kind of things. And all this, reflecting on this, basically, this is my last slide. Basically, we considered that some of these considerations are actually likely to resonate with things that will happen in the other communities. So looking at this kind of perspective, this kind of synergies, we try to find a common path towards a joint set of recommendations. And I conclude here. I think I exhausted my minute. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Okay, and now I'm pleased to welcome Martina Vallerotonda. Martina is an environmental engineer at the Italian University Consortium for Industrial and Managerial Economics, and she coordinates the activities related to the community building of the Interreg MED, the Green Growth Community. Martina, thank you.
Thank you, Giulia. And first of all, I want to thank CMCC for this invitation to share our perspective and the work that we have done together. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can you please confirm that you are able to see it?
Not yet. Yes.
Great.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. As anticipated, I am going to provide the point of view of the green growth community related to the strategic recommendation that are being gathered in the joint position paper produced together with the other two communities. And I thank you both those communities for the work that we have done together. Very brief introduction about the green growth community. We are a thematic community of projects promoting sustainable development in the Mediterranean that are based on the sound management on the natural resources by enhancing cross-sectoral innovation practices and taking into account the effects on the labor market by promoting social inclusion and green jobs. It's important to mention that as a community, we worked mainly, not only, but mainly with the SMEs dealing with the transition towards green growth and circular economy, and in this sense also with resource efficiency. And we had in some cases also application in the built environment at building city or neighborhood and territorial regional level. And the community, one of the aim of the community is to support projects in their communication and capitalization effort, thus increasing their impact at policy level, but also ensuring potential transfer and replication of their results. The community is labeled by the Union for the Mediterranean, and we are composed, the community is managed, let's say, by the following partners: the Beta Technological Center, that is the coordinator of the community; Revolve, communication agency based in Spain; we as CUEIM, we have the main role of community building; Dynamic Vision, with the role of transferring actionable results of the community; the ERRIN, the European network of regions, with the main role of mainstreaming and capitalizing the projects and the results of the projects; and then also ANIMA, a French-based investment network, and the Scenario 21, based in Bosnia and Herzegovina, for the sustainable local development and for enhancing the impact in the Balkan region. We are a community, a quite large community. We have in total 17 so-called modular projects, thematic projects, 14 plus 3 capitalization projects that have been funded recently in the 5th call of the Interreg MED program to support replication and transfer of results. All of these projects deal with the green growth and circular economy, but in a diverse way. So we decided to cluster them into 4 focus areas: food systems, smart cities, waste management, and eco-innovation. And we worked together with the projects not only to create synergies and support them from the communication and capitalization point of view, but also we produced a series of capitalization outcomes at community level, so working all together. Like, for example, legal recommendation, policy recommendation specifically dedicated to green growth, and also the green growth book of all the main results of the community. To have more information about the projects and also the community outcomes, I really invite you to visit our Green Growth Capitalization platform. You can see here the link, interregmedgreengrowth.eu. Going more specifically on the work that we have done together with the other 2 communities, which is the role of resource efficiency in the transition towards a low carbon economy. As anticipated by Andrea, the construction and demolition sector is an industry that is responsible for over the 35% of the total of the European waste generation, with also a huge impact in terms of greenhouse gases emissions. So the transition to a greenhouse gases neutral economy requires a deep reconstruction of technologies and infrastructures, which in turn demands high quantities of raw material. Like, I'm thinking, for example, to the renovation wave. So we will face more and more requests of raw material in this sector, and these raw materials could become geopolitically and or economically scarce in the future, even in the near future. Does it make no sense to discuss low carbon separately from resource efficiency? So an holistic and integrated approach is needed. I put here some key references, but I'm not going to details also because Andrea already shared a complete outlook of the strategies provided by the European Commission, and we are going to see that in the implementation of the Green Deal, a lot of roadmaps and strategies are emerging and will be defined and implemented in the future. Regarding the policy recommendations that I mentioned before, that we have produced in the framework of the Green Growth Community, working together with projects that deal mainly with the SMEs that are approaching the transition towards circular economy and green economy, we identified some key policy recommendation and key intervention that can be relevant in this context. Like, for example, the promotion of foreign national private investments to transform ideas into business opportunities, bringing innovative solutions. But also the inclusion of green and smart mobility industry, the inclusion of specific green public procurement. We will see that this is a very key point and also common to the other communities. But also the promotion of knowledge about innovative technologies, especially, once again, when the Green Growth Community deal mainly with SMEs, not only, but with SMEs and entrepreneurs, so their capacity to access the green market, for example. but also the development of clusters and provision of greater support to the already existing cluster. Sometimes in the path toward the circular economy, SMEs do not have the enough knowledge or access to infrastructure. So the local, regional infrastructure, technological infrastructure are fundamental for them to face at least the initial phase of innovation and transition. Promotion of local participation and also the increasement of public awareness about the technologies that are available. Then also the implementation of national strategies, because it's more than fundamental to have strategies at national, and I would say also at regional level, to support the project actions and outcomes, to valorize and to capitalize the outcomes of the projects that are funded at national European level. The promotion of energy efficiency measures, again, this is a very interlinked with the other two communities in urban infrastructure, also through improving the capacity of public authorities to achieve energy efficiency. And then also the adoption of life cycle costing within the criteria in the green public procurement, and in general the public authority for the public authorities in general, and the enhancement of circular economy aspects into the green public procurement. I think that I will share this, or we will discuss maybe later on about the joint policy recommendations, I think later within the second round of discussion with the other two communities. So for the moment, I finished my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martina, and thank you for your comprehensive overview from the perspective of the green growth community. And I would like now to move to our third pillar of our joint effort, together with Alexia Boulanger. Boulanger is an environmental engineer at the Environment Park. Alexia has a huge experience implementing projects in Mediterranean area, and she's currently the representative partner of the Renewable Energy project, and in particular of the horizontal project of the Interreg MED program, and she's managing the renewable energy community. So please, Alexia.
Thank you very much, Giulia, for this introduction, and also for inviting us in participating in this common work on strategic recommendation for sustainable use of resources in the Mediterranean built environment. I am Alexia Boulanger from Environment Park, a science and technology park dedicated to environment and clean technologies, located in Turin, in Italy. And we are the Italian partner of the Renewable Energy project. Today, I will present you the contribution of the Renewable Energy community of the Interreg MED program to this joint strategic recommendation for sustainable use of resources in the Mediterranean built environment. First of all, let me present you the Renewable Energy community of the Interreg MED program. Sorry, there is a bit of noise around of me, but it should be okay now. We are currently 6 partners from 5 different countries of the North Shore of the Mediterranean, and more precisely from Slovenia, Spain, Croatia, Greece, and Italy. And we are managing the Renewable Energy community. The community is made of 6 projects dealing with different topics, but all related to one thread, the renewable energy, but with different perspectives. For example, you can see that some of the projects are dealing with energy planning, generally speaking, or more focused on a specific area, a specific territory, for instance, rural area, island, or forest in protected areas as Compose for bioenergy and PRISMI. Other projects work on energy facilities and networks, as for example, storage project working on batteries, and Pegasus on microgrids. And the last one, Local for Green, is dedicated to local fiscal policies for green energy. So you can see a high variety of topic, but all apply to renewable energy. As our role as manager of the renewable energy community is a capitalization of all the results and tools produced by this project, we decided to create an integrated model for supporting the energy transition at local level and included all these aspects. So we created the Ecosystemic Transition Unit, that is a multi-level governance model developed by us to integrate the energy transition into territorial planning using an holistic approach. The ETU brings together governance, economic competitiveness and social innovation to revitalize rural areas and increase the resilience to climate change. This Ecosystemic Transition Unit model is summarizing the main policy recommendation we carry on in the framework of our community. They are here summarized in this slide. We have four main policy recommendations. The first one is encouraging a regulatory framework for the implementation of energy communities, because energy transition needs leadership, empowerment, awareness campaign raising, and training plan for communities and municipalities at different levels and across multiple sectors. Social innovation applied in energy transition should encourage active involvement of citizens in identifying the potential and gaps in terms of vulnerability to energy poverty and fair access to clean energy solutions. The second main policy recommendation we have is the enhancement of the integration of renewable energy into territorial planning. Establishing an ecosystemic vision of urban planning and management would allow an initial assessment of the territorial needs, and also an holistic integration with other resources consideration like waste management, mobility, energy efficiency that have to be taken into account to build integrated projects. The third policy recommendation regards optimization of energy efficiency, and that is common also to the other two communities, and to encourage a feasible energy transition in terms of access to smart technology and schemes for funding, also using alternative sources of financing. So it is necessary to encourage coordination of the potential investment from public and private funds to accelerate the effective energy transition. That is a common point also, that one. And at the end, the last one, encourage the coordination among multi-level policies to drive effective energy transition and territory revitalization from local policy to regional and national policies. So energy transition is a good opportunity to catalyze the revitalization process needed by rural and island area in the MED region, integrating the green economy and innovation in this pathway. Oh, sorry, I'm going quickly, too quickly. In this moment in this phase of our project, we are working with flagship cases that are pilot territories. We are trying to apply the ATU model that I just presented to you before in a real territory to understand what this model, what this the toolbox that accompany the model can give to this territory. So we are working currently with 9 island, rural and urban territories in Italy, Spain, Greece and Croatia, and we are applying the ATU model for their energy transition project. So we are trying to adapt the model to their project. Their project can be something like the realization of a CCAP or a CETA for an island, the creation of energy communities, or also energy efficiency actions. We are working with 3 islands, 2 in Greece and 1 in Italy, with 3 rural areas, 2 in Spain and 1 in Italy, and 3 urban territories, 1 in Spain, 1 in Italy, and 1 in Croatia. Apart from that, we decided also to test the model in other kind of territories. So we are collaborating also currently with wide areas that are composed by a group of municipalities. For instance, you can see the 4 first picture on the right areas made by different municipalities that create an association among them to be able to implement energy transition project at the whole area level, so not only at the municipal level. We are working with Vallimaira and Grana in Italy that are 2 mountain valley. And so there are 21 municipalities together. And in Italy, we are working also with Oltrepo Mantovano that represent 19 municipalities in Lombardy region. In Spain, we are working with Bocairent. There are 4 municipalities dedicated that are interested in developing energy transition project within the field of biomass. And Los Pedroches in Andalusia, there are 14 municipalities together. And they are interested in biogas and energy transition projects also related to energy communities, including biogas. Moreover, we are also collaborating with a Tunisian territory in the north of Tunisia because we would like to test the model in the south shore of the Mediterranean. So we are trying to assess how this model could be adapted to these different kind of territories. We also realized a manifesto to carry on 5 main principles we are following in our everyday life actions, and that are holistic, because the ATU initiative for us is an holistic response to climate change, because it helps to identify climate change mitigation and adaptation action, while addressing the region's need and aspiration. It is also a booster for the territorial equity because it enhances energy cooperation between rural and urban areas. And we are also focusing on social innovation because the ATU governance model empowers communities to lead the energy transition in the region. Moreover, it considers also the green economy because we try to integrate different topics, different sectors, not only the energy ones, in order to create alternative livelihood sources and opportunities for local residents. And it promotes multi-level governance for territory to identify their own potential. So if you think these principles are important, if you want to know more about that, you can click on this link and have a look to the whole manifesto, and also you can see and join our initiative. I would like to thank you very much for your kind attention. I'm sorry for the noise at the beginning. I hope it was easy to understand. You can contact us if you have any question. You can follow us. We are available for any clarification. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alexia, and don't worry, it was perfectly fine. And thank you for providing us with your extensive experience on territories. You bring us the lesson learned on the ground by your 3 communities. And thanks to these lessons learned, you worked on joint recommendation. This is why I would like to share with you this final slide from my side. I would like to hear from you on which joint recommendations, in your opinion, resonate the most with your community? And I would kindly also ask you very briefly maybe to describe them and to provide some concrete example of applications, and maybe highlighting a little bit the synergies with the other communities. And I would like to start again with, and now I would like to start with Alexia again. Okay, thank you, Alexia.
Thank you very much. I will start to be quick because maybe we're a bit late. So
absolutely, yes.
No, okay,
please.
so I will be brief. Thank you for giving me the floor. For us, the joint recommendations that resonate more with our community are mainly four. That are the skill development, because, and I think it is a common one, this one, because we all understood in our previews, in the past year, we worked with our target groups that can be local authorities or SMEs, that the skills have to be improved in different terms. For instance, in terms of technical issues, new green procurement, because this will be very important to implement new green procurement for the public administration. New skills also for the funding possibilities and for all the tools and methodologies created by European projects. There are plenty of tools and methodologies created by European projects, but they are not so accessible to the person who would need to benefit from these tools. So it is very important to support the municipalities, support the SMEs, to give them this, to give them access to this information, to these tools. Maybe gathering in all the things in one training session program, or it is very important in any case to support this target if we want the transition happen. And we have also to take into consideration the specificities of the MED areas, coming, for instance, into the national languages, because we cannot think all the English document, tool and recommendation will be accessible to the rural municipality in Italy or in Spain. It's not possible. So if we want that to be transferred, to be accessible, we have to adapt to the characteristic of the target groups. Another important joint recommendation is governing the transition. It was one of the last policy recommendation we had in our community, and for us it is very important to govern the transition for being able to develop integrated project and program on territories, taking into account different topics as waste and water management, mobility, energy efficiency, and to receive the support of the interested stakeholder at local, national and regional level. So the transition, the governance has to be horizontal in terms of sectors and vertical in terms of stakeholders, I think.
Thank you, Alexia. I don't want to stop you, but we are really running out of our time.
Okay.
Yeah, so skills development and governance. And Martina, what's from your community?
Hello, and I mean,
2 minutes.
Okay. I picked 3 joint recommendations, but I think that most of them are very interlinked within among the 3 communities. So regarding the green growth, for sure, the resource efficiency one, so the need to integrate Mediterranean specific consideration for the resource efficiency into local planning, and also the foster Mediterranean specific standards for recovery building material. And this is totally in line also with what Alexia mentioned about, like, for example, green public procurement. This is a fundamental aspect also for the green growth community. But I would like to highlight other key aspects regarding this resource efficiency joint recommendation about the promotion of social and economic desirability of circular economy. Not all the SMEs or entrepreneurs for example, are aware of the economic potential of circular economy, that is not only a European goal or a percentage that that will become something mandatory, but it's also an economic opportunity, a business opportunity, and this is the way it should be seen. As Alexia said, for the energy efficiency, also resource efficiency should be seen in this way by the SMEs and enterprises in general, but also promote the circular economy entrepreneurial culture. So once again, awareness and knowledge, skills and expertise within the SMEs. And another joint recommendation that is connected to this point is also social inclusion and just transition, because it's important to provide capacity building activities to address labor market need for qualified professionals working with resource efficient, with circular economy, sustainable transition in general. So for this, we need to support the education and training for green economy jobs opportunity, but also to tackle the disruptive effects of the transition on the existing labor segment. I'm thinking, like, for example, to the just transition process, and also to link social protection and retraining processing in the transitional phase. But also the social inclusion is related to the groups that are more vulnerable in our living areas, urban areas, and also the energy costs for the clean energy options should be available for all very soon. And
thank you, Martina.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I have to stop you here. And yes, of course, social inclusion, that goes very, very interlinked with skills development. But Andrea, please let us know from the efficient buildings community.
Yeah, thank you, Giulia. Yeah, of course, they are all relevant because this is, at the end of the day, about buildings. But there are two of them which are very much resonating with the practical work that we have been doing during the project. One is public procurement, because there is a specific category of public procurement contracts, which are the energy performance contracts, which are specific to the energy efficiency upgrade and can be implemented in public buildings. And there is really a lack of familiarity at the local level with this kind of contract. And we had specific efforts made by our projects to improve on that. And there is a tool by the S.p.A project, which actually managed to mobilize about 20 million euros of contracts for conglomerates of buildings, public buildings in this direction. And then talking about money, financing is key. So all these things won't happen without funding the funds to fuel this transition. And again, there are specific situations in the Mediterranean area that made this point particularly sensitive. Sometimes because especially in the past, before the easement of the financial constraints on public budgets due to the COVID relief measures, but before we had strict constraints on the public budget, so some funds could not be assessed because of the stability pact requirements. Now this is a bit less of a problem. Secondly, there are a lot of about the fact that it's relatively less easy in the south of Europe to reap the savings that justify economically energy efficiency investment. So it takes longer to reach that. And in that, because of this reason, it's important to adapt the financial instruments to this longer and more difficult bankability of the project in the Mediterranean. And this is also taken care by a specific tool developed by a project of ours, the SISMA tool, which helps finding exactly how much this gap was for bankability. And that's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I mean, we have only 3 minutes for research for questions from our audience, but I don't see questions coming out from the audience. Okay, no, but I have a question, of course, for you. And financing goes hand in hand with ambitious targets, and my mind goes to to Glasgow and to the COP26. This week, COP26 is about to close this week, and we are all aware of those draft agreements circulating a few days before the closing date. And they are talking about ambitious targets, and in particular there is a proposition for having the 45% of reduction of greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. So, and this of course will require urgent action. So in your opinion, how will this pan out for the Mediterranean region and for your community? Very quickly. Andrea, Alexia, Martina, who wants to start? Andrea.
Yeah, I can try. Yeah, top of my head, breaking the ice. It's yeah, it's making the thing a bit complicated, but I think that there are the resources here to start working in that direction in an effective way. Europe approved itself very able to tackle emergency situation with this COVID crisis, and if we keep the momentum in putting our best effort in doing these kind of things, we can also bring this home. There are more, of course, part of some sectors which are more advanced in reaching the targets than other. Probably the most problematic would be mobility, but it's not our sector. The problem with buildings is also a sector where there is a lot of inertia. So it's better to start as soon as possible, because this is a sector where investment get locked in, and we have to do the things right.
Renovation is quite fundamental, and we need to start very quickly and soon. And Alexia, just one word from your side.
Yes, I will be quick also. For me, in this moment, there is a big innovation member states have to do, and it regards the creation of a new energy distribution model. So I think we need to be quick on the creation of energy community regulatory framework in all the member states, because it won't be the solution, but it can be part of the solution. So yeah, the quickest will be the adaptation in the member states regulatory framework. Quickest will be the answer of the system.
Yes, thank you, Martina.
Imaging this very ambitious percentage of reduction of emission from the perspective of the green growth community, I would like to go back to the barriers. in the path of the transition towards sustainability and circular economy for the SMEs. So once again, awareness of the potential economic and business potential of implementing resource efficiency, energy efficiency, circular economy business models, and not only because it's mandatory. So this kind of awareness is necessary. And then for those entrepreneurs that are already aware, to ease them their life in providing technological support at territorial level, to provide professionals that are skilled, increase the knowledge on how to implement, to design and to implement this kind of business models, and then the connection to the financial part, the bankability. So, like for example, European funds are a great resource, but with a lot of barriers themselves. So the bankability, the adaptation and integration of the bankability criteria, including the concept of resource efficient and circular economy, is fundamental to implement this kind of business model and accepting this challenge.
Thank you very much, Martina. I think we should stop here. So innovation, renovation, skill development, and of course, finance are the keywords of our discussion today. And I would like to thank very much our speakers. Please, for everybody, follow our projects on the Interreg MED website and let us know your thoughts. You have here the QR code to fill in our questionnaires. And thank you also again, Alexia, Andrea, and Martina. And for our Italian audience, I would like to remind you our next appointment on November 23rd at 10 o'clock in the morning, dopo COP26, scienza, sfide e prospettive per il monitoraggio dei gas a effetto serra. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon and a nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.